What's really exciting about customer loyalty is that there's so many new initiatives and so many ways in which we are talking about brand and thinking about how we engage with our customers. And certainly as you guys on the front lines, when you are in retail stores and you are closing and working with customers every day, it becomes really important to understand not only the ways in which you value those relationships, but the ways in which those customers end up spending, as we would all want, more of their time with you, but also more of their money with you. So today's conversation is called Manufacturing Community. And the reason why community becomes such a big component of this is that today's customers are really looking for something truly beyond, right, just traditional loyalty programs and just membership points and getting a free coffee after they've bought 10. But they're really looking for ways in order to evoke brand. And they're looking for ways in order to share and take to the platforms, social media, but also through regular word of mouth and coming in store and being able to engage. So today we're going to be talking about all of those different mechanisms. We've got a lot of great brand examples. But those of you guys who have retail stores, those of you guys who've been experimenting with loyalty programs, I would really love an opportunity to answer questions and help guide any initiatives that you have going on today, and certainly things that you're planning for in 2019 and beyond. So who are we? Who am I? I am one of a team. My company is called Scaling Retail, and I am the CEO and founder. We've been around for about 10 years. We are merchants, we are buyers, we are marketers, and we are content creators. My background, I used to come from the buying offices of Barney's. I ran a division at Gucci. I used to be at Macy's, so I understand all of you guys who are here who are coming from this buying standpoint, really trying to understand the best ways to plan your open to buy, the best ways in order to get in front of your customer. And in the last 10 years, we've been really focusing a huge shift on how we start to market and tell brand stories and finding the ways in which sales, marketing, and merchandising have an amazing synergy together. So those of you guys who are businesses of 1 or businesses of 50, the way that those 3 departments come together becomes increasingly more and more important, right? Every time you get a new product, you push it out there, you try to find a way to get it on social, you try to get a way to find an influencer to push it out there and try to reverb the community. In fact, all of you guys who are buyers are likely also putting your marketing hat on, and those of you guys who are in marketing are putting your buying hats on. Now more than ever, I like seeing heads nod. Now more than ever, it is really a synergy of all 3 departments. So who we are based in Los Angeles. We have a satellite office in New York. Again, the company's called Scaling Retail, and we are marketers. We've been fortunate enough to win awards because we're great at what we do, but we're also profit maximizers. So the things that we do and suggest to our clients are things that we know make a difference. We know they help really impact your bottom line. After all, why else would you do something if it wasn't to increase the health of your business, right? Okay, so manufacturing community, the changing face of customer loyalty. We've come a long way, guys. Does anyone used to or currently has a point system with their grocery store that they shop at? Yes? Does anyone know what it does for them? Yeah, do you know? I don't know, right? I have no idea what it does for me, right? The old ways in which we looked at customer loyalty and point systems were basically going to the grocery store, giving your phone number and getting points, but heck, what are these points good for, right? Traditional customer loyalty is somewhat ambiguous and vague. And it's really interesting because over 81% of households belong to some sort of customer loyalty program. However, most people don't have any idea of how to use or redeem them. So then we ask ourselves, well, what the heck's the point of having a customer loyalty program if no one actually engages with it? Now, from the side of the retailer, you might be saying, well, that's great. People are giving me their data, their information, and it's great that they're not using it because we're not actually, losing any money, or we're not actually having to make good on the promises that we're offering. However, what we actually want are services and offerings with a reward point system or some loyalty programming that actually gets people to spend more money, spend more time. And why? Because they're actually looking to get the dopamine hit when they're able to redeem points, come into the store and feel connection and feel a sense of brand, right? They want to feel close. They want to have that identification. So, 3.8 billion loyalty programs, 67% of people who are parts of loyalty programs who come back spend over 2 times as more than the first-time customers, right? So when we start to ask ourselves what's the benefit of having loyalty programs and loyalty systems, it's that people spend more money, right? They spend more time with you. So obviously we want to all be walking away out of here with some sort of idea of what our points or loyalty or programs will look like that are going to help us make a difference within our communities and within our customers. So what does a loyal customer look like? Well, they're posting on social media. We've got a lot of micro fans and macro influencers out there in the market. Maybe they're people who are aspirationally reposting images from your collection, from your lookbook as a wish list item, and other fans and other followers are finding them. So they're aspirational community. They're also returning to the store to purchase. They're attending events, they're giving word of mouth, and they're sharing information with their friends, right? It's really important that we understand that the things that we post now on Instagram stories, right, which is now happening at a much higher frequency than what we post on our Instagram feeds, have a much higher percentage of being seen by the people within our own micro communities, right? We get more eyeballs on our stories, more so than we get likes on our posts. And it's more often that you'll find that people who are fans of your brand, maybe they don't want to put it on their feed, but they're putting it on their stories, and their stories will visually convert. Maybe they're not crossing over at this moment to purchase a product, but knowing that we need 6 different branded touch points for someone to come to our brand in order to make a purchase, every single point matters, right? Every single customer touch point. So that person who's posting on stories, guess what? Your brand now has a much wider reach, right? In order to help manufacture your sense of community. So they're also making recommendations, they're reviewing products. Anyone here have reviews on a website? Yes, amazing. People love seeing other people, right? Again, a sense of community. If you have a product that makes sense to have reviews, then do so. Many times I've had people who've come to us and say, hey, we want to do a review system or a review strategy on our website, and it makes no sense at all, right? So remember, everything we're talking about has to make sense to your brand and to your product. But if it does make sense, then having a section and having an integration to be able to have a review system is very helpful, right? People then understand your product, they get to know you, and all of a sudden you become not just a product on a website, but your product starts to come to life. Making recommendations and answering surveys, right? Answering surveys is one of the really important and valuable tools and mechanisms that you can actually get your customers to get used to the idea of engaging with you through email. Now, oftentimes we wonder, I'm going to send out a survey. I've never sent one out before. Well, if you've never sent one out before, it's actually harder to get a higher level of response rate than if you've been sending out customer feedback and emails that actually get people to respond to you more frequently. Sometimes we say to ourselves, why do I send out so many emails? I'm just going to only send a few. But again, the more that you are sending out, the more likely it is that your customer is going to have anticipation of what's on the other side. So we're trying to create learned behavior, right? And what's amazing here is when someone answers a survey and they know that their input and that what they're saying has a direct contribution back to your business, well, guess what? They're going to keep doing it over and over again. So it's not even that sending out a survey the first time is important, but letting people know what the results of the survey was and how it's actually impacted maybe a change in assortment plan, maybe a new product, right? Maybe something that they have said has really changed the way in which the business has evolved. And guess what? No one answers the survey and you decide to make changes anyways. There's no reason why you can't tell people that it was based on some survey results. Guess what? They have no idea, right? Your customers don't know, and that's partially why we're talking about this in terms of manufacturing community, right? We are making it seem as if things might be a bit different than what they actually are. So traditional customer loyalty, it's bland. It's going off of those traditional point systems. It's vague, just like with Albertsons or Safeway. I really don't know what my points do for me. And a lot of traditional customer loyalty programs also are vague, just don't know what they do unless it's a credit card, and I know it translates into a point. It's finite. It starts and ends purely with the shopping experience. Meaning, the sales associate, the retail store owner, the customer service person only cares about the customer if they are purchasing something. But a lot of the ideas that we're going to be putting out here are actually without just purchase intent in mind, right? It's a lot more expansive. It's really thinking about the customer and their total engagement value. And then it's narrow. It's focused on the wrong metrics. We're not just looking at spend here, guys. We're looking at reach. We're looking at attention. We're looking at the amount of times that people are engaging with your brand. So customer loyalty of the future. And this is really interesting. 30% of millennials surveyed, so they're more loyal to brands than their parents. You might be wondering, why on earth would that be? Back with our parents, there are only so many brands. Of course, they're going to be so loyal to the finite amount of brands. Well, the reason why they're more loyal, even though that there are more brands out there, is because they're doing more research, right? So when we think about the reasons and the demographics who care about loyalty and who want to have a way of engaging with your brand, we're not just talking about an older segmentation. We're looking at millennials and we're looking at people who are interested in learning and engaging, reading, showing up because you show up for them. It's a two-way conversation. Trust, 83% of those surveyed said that trust was one of the number one things that they looked for when they were going to be brand loyal. A lot of brands today have a huge issue. You might have been reading articles about this, which is that their content, their marketing, and their messaging falls flat when the product ships and gets to the door. It falls flat. And why is that? It's because we've been taught, rightly so, that content marketing is big and we need to invest heavily into images and photography. We need to be able to tell a great brand story. We need to connect with our consumers. But if our products don't live up to the expectations, guess what? We lose trust, we lose customers, and we actually get bad word of mouth. So those of us who are saying, well, we can just slap some marketing on this and push it out there and close the sale the first time, you should be asking yourself, if no one's buying a second or a third time, is my product and my customer service and my delivery creating the connection with the brand, with the consumer, rather, that's gonna get them to keep coming back, right? Where am I falling short? So what are we looking for? What do we want? We want personalization. We want to be implementing smart technologies. We want to make sure our brand communication is really on point across all channels. And we need to start looking at localization. Very often, when I talk to small brands who are growing in the market, they say things like, I want to sell globally. I want to open up my doors and hook up with DHL and have an international customer base. Meanwhile, they forego and overlook some of the most important things, which actually have to do with building community within your own local neighborhood, within where your store is located, even if it is an e-commerce storefront. Where are you? Where are your people where you are? Now, certainly social media and certainly opening up international shipping is a great way to be other places. But when someone's looking to connect with your brand, what are you doing in order to get them to see and be with you in that moment? So start thinking about localization. That's both in terms of in-person events, but also in terms of introducing new technologies, right? I've had some great clients who are on their websites. They started implementing localization APIs, showing different products to different people who were signing on to their website from different areas. Right, highlighting the best sellers and changing them depending on what region someone was signing onto the website from. These kinds of technologies are certainly not always available to small businesses, but as your business scales and grows, so too can your ability to personalize technology to support globalization or kind of an international reach and those kinds of desires. Okay, so what do we know customers are craving? Well, certainly they want authenticity. They want community and they want emotional payoffs. And when I say emotional payoffs, I mean that dopamine hit when they see that their photograph has been, regrammed. When you have a photo booth at your event and they're able to take photographs of themselves and share that with their friends, right? That emotional payoff is a sense of belonging, right? It's a sense of seeing themselves or seeing other people within your community. So let's talk a little bit about community. So in 2018, Cape Town had a drought. I don't know how many are familiar with the drought there. But what was really fascinating is a couple different major brands really took a step forward in order to make some changes and give back into their community. Coca-Cola reduced the amount of water in the production of its soft drinks by 30%. And Unilever really came out with a line of products that didn't require any water in order to use them. Now, no, these are not fashion companies, and no, these are not sexy brands, though maybe Coca-Cola is sometimes. I do like that polar bear. But when we ask ourselves about community, we have to say to ourselves, well, what are the things that are happening on a more localized level where we are and where we ship to? So even if it's not physically where our store is located, but maybe it's an area where we have a high volume of distribution, what are the things that matter to these people that we can do something about, right? What are the things that we stand for, that we believe in, that again, help to manufacture and bridge a sense of community within those organizations? Now, the other thing is certainly it doesn't really matter what you do. I mean, it does matter what you do, but what matters even more is being able to tell the story, right? Being able to let other people know and hear about it. Now, honestly, I'm kind of tired of brands saying, oh yeah, I'm going to donate a percentage of my profits back to XYZ, and it's some really marginal percentage, and it doesn't really do much of anything, and they use it just for a branding strategy. I'm much more about rolling up your sleeves and getting on the ground and doing the work, or knowing where your money is going and making a contribution and physically showing up to that organization. But whatever it is that you're going to do, think about how it impacts other people. Not only does that help your bottom line in terms of your brand perception, right, but it's also just good business, right? It's a good idea to do better things for the planet and for people. Now, how many people are familiar with the Nordy Club with Nordstrom's? Yes, awesome. So really fun and exciting is Nordstrom's, which is really known for having a fantastic customer service department, certainly having an amazing credit card point system, has come out with a new revamped program called the Nordy Club. And what I love about this program and what I love about what this new initiative is doing is that they're taking advantage of a very omnipresent, omnichannel customer. Nordstrom's has launched recently in their Los Angeles market something called Nordstrom's Local. In fact, guys, it's a store that sells nothing. You can't buy anything. What is it? It's a physical space. I know you look confused. You're like, why would someone do that, right? Why would someone open a space and not sell a thing? And the reason why is because they wanted to bring together their people. They wanted to bring community together. So what happened when I went inside this place? Well, there was a manicurist there who was gonna do nails, and she charged a pretty reasonable price. There was a place where I could get a cocktail, which was amazing. There were also really beautiful fitting rooms. And those fitting rooms were for guests and people who had purchased clothes online and wanted to try them on in the space before they decided what they wanted to take home. So buy online, try in store, return what they're not going to use. And it was also for personal styling, fittings, and alterations. In fact, this past Christmas, Nordstrom's was also wrapping people's gift giving and doing free gift wrapping. Now that I think is pretty amazing, right? Certainly it takes a lot of bucks to be able to invest in that type of way when you're giving back to your consumers and creating a sense of community within a city like Los Angeles. But it's an amazing opportunity to attract new people, right? You might have said to yourself, well, everyone knows who Nordstrom's is. Why on earth would they go to the extent of trying to attract a new customer? It's because their customers are aging out, right? And they need to be able to introduce new people, millennials, into their fold and into their merchandise mix, and they're able to do so by getting them into their physical spaces. Now, with this Nordy Club, it's a pretty easy system. It's not as vague. They have a mobile app that goes through how you can redeem your points very easily. It's very important that if you have any sort of loyalty or points program, that you make it very simple for someone to actually use them. And when you think about the different tiers of the Nordy Club, it's not simply a pay-to-play environment, right? You can sign up, and even if you spend nothing, right, there are still perks and benefits. And then you start to see the tiers go up, right? You have member, insider, influencer, and ambassador. And those people who are a part of this experience benefit from being able to go into their shops, shop their half yearly sale before anyone else does, which those of you guys who know Nordstrom's know that that's like a really big deal to be able to get those jeans and get those products at a major discount before they sell through. And in fact, I think by being able to have this be a very 360 experience, touching both in-store and online, as well as within their customers' mobile applications, they're really finding a way to be present as much as possible within that customer lifetime. Now, speaking of points, we think about redemption of points, the different ways in which we can access and activate them. This is one of my favorite examples of activating points. Sometimes we think about using points for cash redemption or getting a discount. But here we have the Tory Burch Ultimate VIP experience. For 40,000 points, right? It's a lot of points, right? You gotta spend some money, it's a lot of points. But for 40,000 points, Tory Burch will fly you and a friend to New York City for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, plus take home an exclusive collection of Tory scents, right? So now we start to think about how can we cultivate those higher end VIP customers, right? What can we do that goes above and beyond giving them some product for free? What is an experience that we can start to transact? Some other great loyalty activations. Hermes here with the Hermes Carré pop-up, which was a great experiential program, really meant to educate millennials about their famous scarves, something that a lot of older generations have grown up knowing about and hearing about in the luxury sector. But millennials unsure of how to tie a scarf properly or the mystique behind Hermes and their famous scarves got to experience the brand and start to build a sense of familiarity through this in real life pop-up. Now, for those who are really seasoned with the brand, Hermes has a tie society. It's more conservative, right? It's not as flashy. It's not about having the best DJ there. In fact, it's simply a pure play on consumer transactions. It's almost like doing one of those shopping boxes, right? Memberships. Sign up for a few months, we'll send you some new product every couple months. And for those luxury consumers who are obsessed with the brand, this gives them a chance to be the first to try new product, to try new things. And even though they're not getting a discount, right? Because oftentimes we think about loyalty and giving out discounts, what they end up getting, right, are exclusives. And that becomes a real major player here when we look to diversify and get people interested and coming back. Now we're going to shift gears and talk a little bit about China and an amazing activation that Tmall, which is the luxury side of Alibaba, what they've rolled out. For all of their high net worth spenders who spend over $159,000 a year, right, which is a lot, right? Think about like who's spending that much money? Well, guys, they have a lot of people who are spending. In fact, and I think I took this out, but there are over 100,000 people who are part of this Tmall program. And what is this program? Well, 50 of the high-end luxury stores, including companies like Burberry, Guerlain, Givenchy, have all got together in order to provide exclusive products, in order to do in-house hosted events. And what's amazing about this loyalty program is Tmall is actually giving all of the data from all the purchasing from their website back to those brands. So even if any of you guys here are brands and you're looking to get involved with any of these retailers and any of their luxury programming or any of the data that they're mining, it never hurts to ask, right? Sometimes we think about the black box of data without understanding the ways in which we might be able to really ask for it and then implement and use it. Because they're handing over all this insight to these luxury retailers, the luxury brands are now able to take that data, make their assortments better, understand their customer in a much more intimate way, and they continue to want to be a part of this third-party branded platform. So, what else are these retailers doing? Well, guys, it used to be back in the 50s when we first started seeing the implementation of credit cards en masse, when a lot of the retailers started implementing credit cards in order to get people to buy more and spend more. We're now seeing retailers start to separate from that a little bit, right? Companies like J.Crew and Macy's have now said, hey, we're going to allow you to be a part of our program because we value your data and what we're finding out from you, right? More than we're just going to value how much you spend, right? We want to understand you better. So there's a bit of a trade-off here. You take away the credit card need, and all of a sudden you now move into data analytics and becoming data scientists, right? What can we learn about this customer? How can we mine them? How can we chase them around the internet and see what's working with this demographic and with this age group? We're also seeing the implementation of loyalty programs in a much smarter way through apps, right? And how we're launching mobile applications and platforms. Now, those of you guys who are thinking about having a mobile app, but let's say your audience or your market size is quite small, then launching an app, though you might see a lot of third-party retail companies or tech companies out there saying, we'll build you an app and we'll make it something special and we can do it cheap. Don't do it, right? Implementing an app is really created for a company that's going to be able to spend the time and the money in content creation and making sure that it's new and that it's relevant. But if having an application is something that is within your bandwidth, then again, making sure that things like, what is inside of your credit card? How many points do you have? Right? So it's very similar to opening up, let's say, my Delta app, right? And being able to quickly access any type of information about my purchasing, my shopping, my spending habits, and then also finding easy ways to redeem them. Again, it's not just about points accumulation, it's about engaging with our systems and platforms. And then we have a new company out there, one that I think is doing a fantastic job of taking an old model and shining it up a bit. Are you guys familiar with Third Love? No? Okay. So Third Love is giving Victoria's Secret a run for their money. Third Love has introduced 70 different sizing gradations of bras, which is really interesting because companies like Victoria's Secret and Calvin Klein only have about 30. So Third Love has done a fantastic job in the last few years, founded by some tech junkies, former Google employees over in Silicon Valley. They've done an amazing job of being data scientists and mining data, but also implementing a rewards program that helps them test market product. So they took an old model and they shined it up a bit. You have 3 different levels: an admirer, an enthusiast, and a devotee. And they make it extremely easy to be able to sign up. In fact, what happens is if you've already purchased a product from them online, they'll send you an email and say, hey, you're 1 click away from signing up for our rewards program. Click here. You click on it, boom, automatically your accounts are synced up. Now, why is that important? Because sometimes we actually give our customers too many barriers to have them do what we want them to do. Think about systems that you currently have within your organization that ask customers to do too many things, right? Fill out all of this information. Put in your credit card manually onto your phone. The more you ask your customers to do when it comes to doing manual things that many of your competitors are actually already doing, the more likely than not, they're actually not going to end up purchasing something, right? They're not going to end up doing what's easy and natural. So you might be asking yourself, is it really worthwhile for me to implement, let's say, Apple Pay or Amazon Pay or Google Pay, or even making sure that every single website or business that you're working with has PayPal integrated? It is. It's extremely, extremely important. Those of you guys with physical brick and mortars really should be looking at Apple Pay so people can just check out of your store without ever having to open up their wallet. These are very basic things that are now becoming so much more widespread. Oh, and to finish up Third Love, what I love so much about this is that when you're part of their rewards program, you get free underwear. Now, if you recall, I said Third Love sells bras, right? But guess what? Just like many of the other brands out here on the selling floor, they're looking to diversify and become a lifestyle brand, which means what's a natural extension from bras? Well, you have underwear. And guess what? Their underwear category is new. They don't have as many reviews in their underwear categories. They don't have as much market feedback on their underwear product because it is a new product. So what do? Well, they give it away for free. And what happens when you get a free product? Well, you're going to write about it. You're going to talk about it. You're going to give feedback. So when you're test marketing and launching new initiatives, new products, etc., there's nothing wrong with transactionally giving away a low-ticket item for free in order to get customer feedback. So Levi's partnered up with Pinterest, just like how Nike partnered up with Snapchat. And what was really fun about that is even though it has yet to be proven how high converting these platforms were from a sales standpoint, the reach of these initiatives far surpassed expectations. And why is that? Because consumers were looking to be first to try something new, right? Sometimes we think we have to be subversive about things, right? We can actually be quite obvious. We can tell our customers we're launching initiatives, that we're doing collaborations and partnerships with social media, and guess what? They're gonna wanna try it out and be first. They're gonna wanna be able to report back to their friends. They're gonna wanna be able to buy something and say that they were first to market. Our customers want to belong. So when we think about manufacturing the experience, right, we have a couple ideas. The first is paying for membership. Now, paying for membership, it got a lot of people who are like, what, pay for membership? Yes, paying for membership. Oftentimes we think about giving so many things away for free, right? Oh, we want people to come back, so we're gonna host this event, we're gonna do this, we're gonna get people to come back to us, so we're gonna orchestrate this in such a major way. But companies like REI and Lululemon, who just recently launched their pay for membership, are doing really innovative and fun things. They're giving away free classes to gym memberships, right? Hey, go to this class this month for free. Lululemon's charging $128 for their membership. And guess what? When you buy into the membership, you get discounts to buy more, right? You get exclusive bundled products. You get invitations to events, certainly. But what you're getting is a sense of belonging, because what happens when you show up to that class in your Lululemon pants and you turn around and you see lots of other people wearing Lululemon in that class, you say, wow, these are my people. I'm so happy I'm a part of this community. So then the next email you get that's giving you a nice little promo or a deal in order to get, I don't know, 2 for the price of 1, maybe a nice BOGO in there, maybe it's only even 10% off. You know that you want more because you know you want to belong. Now, Amazon, which I'm sure most of us have a Prime membership or have friends who do have Prime memberships, we spend 250% more on Amazon than those who do not have Prime memberships. And why is that? We want to get something out of it. Right? So companies like Lululemon and certainly Amazon and REI and others are also doing free shipping, right? But guess what? You're paying to be a part of this because you are now getting all of these other perks. Now trust me, most of these perks that I'm mentioning are things you're probably already implementing or thinking of doing on your own to attract new customers, right? But the idea that someone has to pay in order to have emotional buy-in is really important. Right? If you pay to be a part of a club, you want to exercise your club, right? You want to use it. You want to know that you're getting the most value out of it. Now, Restoration Hardware also launched a membership program. Costs $100. They give you free interior design services. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You also get early access, you get access to events, and if you were a member of that, well, then you would also know about their new restaurants. Right? You would understand and see what they've been doing and getting early invitations and access to these things that are now gaining so much press. What's amazing about what Restoration Hardware is doing is that they're taking their brand and they're asking themselves, what else are we? Who else are we? Right? While we're all here and we're all in retail and we're all possibly buying and selling fashion, or we're in this market of this consumer good, we must ask ourselves, well, who else can we be? What else are we to the public? What else does our brand stand for? Right? We have brands that are opening up hotels, right? Brands that are opening up co-working spaces, cafes, right? What else can we be? Because the bigger we are, again, the bigger our reach of our community, the more loyal fans we have to our brand. And this I thought was really fun. 75% of 18 to 24-year-olds and 77% of 25 to 34-year-olds say that they'd pay to belong, right? So in an age where everyone's trying to be the coolest or get the most likes on their images or get attending these events and have a sincere case of FOMO, right? If you're able to provide access, right, it could go a long way for your customers. Okay, so we touched a little bit on this. Pop-ups, cafes, and physical storefronts. Dolce, Coach, Chanel, Goop, Sephora, right? All companies that are saying, hey, we're gonna take our brands that are, some of them are primarily digital, so a company like Goop, for example, and we're gonna take to the streets and we're gonna provide experiential. Experiential should be something, if your e-com or brick and mortar, needs to be a big part of 2019 and 2020, because it's very important that your customers can meet you. It's important that they can see you smile, that they can get to know your brand and your business. And it's important that they do so without you standing behind a cash register, right? Because you're actually able to bridge a relationship with them. Now, some of my favorite expansions that happen now that have to do with cafes and restaurants are certainly Tiffany's with their Blue Box Cafe. Monsieur Gabriel has a cafe and a restaurant in the front of their Melrose location. And then we have a company like Moda Operandi who has their digital storefront that's now expanding into physical storefronts, right? We're all hearing so much, guys, about direct-to-consumers that are now going digital and opening up physical. And even if it's just a pop-up or, again, something that's short-term, we have to be able to bridge those relationships. Again, manufacturing community and giving your customers a sense of belonging. So expanding the brand, what else are you? ID Magazine, Vogue, Fantastic Man in Love. These are all magazines. Magazines that have all created brands and fashion lines out of them, right? These are companies who said, hey, we're gonna stand for something bigger because we know we have a much wider reach, right? So as you're entertaining the idea of a hotel like Roberto Cavalli and some of the other brands, co-working spaces, partnerships, restaurants, and cafes, again, think about what those brand adjacencies and products look like. We did a series of interviews here over the last 2 days with a lot of different brands that were out here. And we met with a lot of brands that we thought were doing really innovative projects and innovative things. And the number one thing that we heard was, we're trying to be a lifestyle brand. And my question to them was, are you a lifestyle brand because you're opening up new product categories? Or are you a lifestyle brand because you're actually integrating into someone's life? Right? Being a lifestyle brand isn't just about having a pair of shoes, right, when you're selling suits or jackets. Right? Being a lifestyle brand means being able to integrate into life, right? It means being engaging. Now, user-generated content is something we talked about earlier. It's the dopamine hit. You know, we have a great brand example here from one of our clients, Road Resort. Someone, influencer, they didn't even know about this, posted an image of them crediting the store that they purchased it from, and they repurposed that, right? They reposted onto their accounts. And what's amazing about that is this influencer probably could have cared less because she has so many more followers. But what was amazing here is it really gave the people who were fans, right, the smaller people, the people who don't have as many followers, it gave them an opportunity to see how their brand had reach. It gave them an opportunity to see who else wears the product. Now, I am pretty sure that most of you guys who really do try to get user-generated content probably get stuck with images that you can't use. You're probably asking yourself, how do we get our customers to actually post photographs that we could use, right? Because some of them don't have the right lighting. Some of them just aren't, you know, they're not taken properly, they're not styled well. Well, how do you do that? Well, you manufacture it. Meaning, if you want to show people how to do something, you give them an example. You get some friends together, you get them to wear your product, maybe you host a little event, maybe you invite some micro-influencers, but you get people together to take the images the way that you want them, and you post them. And you repost them from your friends' accounts. And when you do so, you're giving your wider public an opportunity to say, hey, okay, if I want to get featured, well then these are the kinds of images that I need to be taking. Because I'm sure you're not going to write on someone's message, hey, great photo, can't use it, right? You want to be able to use it, and you want them to be able to get the dopamine hit in the rush when they see themselves on your Instagram feed. What's also interesting is that it really helps to turn window shoppers, people who see your brand, when they see other people like them or aspirational people wearing those products, it gives them an opportunity to say, hey, I belong here, right? This is a brand that now I'm going to go from a window shopper to possibly actually converting and becoming a paying shopper. So again, what are the ways in which we can be reflective within our communities of people who we want to become purchasers in order to see themselves in our brand? A really fun idea here is also gamification. Now, a lot of Gen Xers and millennials have grown up, right, gamifying. They understand the apps better than anybody. They're the ones that are most likely to try VR and AR. And guess what, guys? There are so many technology companies out there right now that are looking for brand partnerships. They're looking to test out their technology with retailers. They're looking to test out their technology with brands. And why is that? Well, they need to have proof of concept. They need to be able to show that it works. And guess what? You guys will then get an opportunity to implement and try something new and to create some new noise about it. Now, certainly when you see collaborations like with Tommy Hilfiger and when they did this concept called Jeans Explore, they were able to really synthesize the full 360 between having an app that was gamified and then also giving people rewards points when they were posting wearing their product. Again, implementation of a technology that might seem a little too far reaching for a small business, right? But very simple ways of being able to maybe partner with technology companies and finding ways of integrating, even if it's a, in-store mirror, for example, right? Where you can purchase and share with friends. There are so many international companies that are looking to have those partnerships, right? Because, again, they need their beta. And you need press. And you need customers who are going to come in and engage and try new things with you and trust you. Payment plans, this is a really, really big new one. I'm sure you guys have been seeing a lot of advertisements from Afterpay during this magic season. What's amazing now about these new types of integrations with payment plans is that they really offer for companies that have higher ticket items or mid-price items that are selling to a clientele or a customer base that may not have the income, right, or maybe thinking a little bit more about how am I going to pay for this. Having an application like this really helps to close and convert the sale. It lets your customer know that you're thinking of them, right, that you realize that they might want to purchase that handbag or purchase that product, but maybe they can't do so right away or they can't do so now. So being able to start looking at things like Afterpay is great. Klarna did an integration with Shopify. One of a great example here is one of our clients, we actually asked them, they asked us actually, should we integrate and do something with Afterpay? And I said, well, your price points aren't so high. Why don't you ask your customers? So what did they do? They put a post up on their Instagram stories and said, hey guys, we're thinking about introducing Afterpay. Will you use this? And guess what? Majority of their customers said yes, so they rolled it out. It's not always that we have to just try things and introduce things. We can oftentimes ask our customers, will this be of use to you? Would you like this? Do you want to try this? And guess what? Your loyal fans will say yes. Your non-loyal fans will probably be even more honest with you and say, I'll never use that, right? But all feedback is very valuable feedback. And then we start thinking about mobile platforms. So a big brand example of this is Dior using WeChat in China. And what they did was really interesting. They basically created an integrated API that plugged in directly to their CRM platform and allowed all of their users on WeChat, all of their existing customer base and fans there to easily integrate all of that data and match it up into their CRM. Because guys, as you're building customer loyalty programs and platforms, the synthesis of data becomes even more important. Otherwise, what do you end up with? We get lots of lists, right? How do I start to match my lists up? Right? So starting to look for those kinds of technology platforms or even introducing ones that already are able to sync into your existing CRM platform are going to be extremely, extremely valuable. And then aside from any sort of online apps or doing things that are more on the high-tech side, very low-tech ways of integrating with mobile and getting front of mind with your customer has to do with text messaging. In fact, 99% of text messages get opened right now from brands. It's a lot. Not a lot of brands are doing it. Some are. The ones that are doing it are seeing a lot of traction from that. When was the last time you had that high of an open rate on an email, right? Probably never. Unless it was when you were starting out and you were doing a test email to you and your mom, right? So when we think about things like text messaging, those kinds of technologies are now more widely available and they're very cheap, right? So even if you have a mailing list of thousands of people and you want to start marketing to them through text messaging, it becomes a lot more worthwhile for you to write shorter copy and spend more time sending out text messages in order to get those higher conversions. Doesn't mean that you should be stopping your email marketing. I'm a huge fan of being consistent with email marketing. In fact, even if you think no one's opening up your emails, just simply seeing your emails show up into their inbox, seeing your brand helps them to then reverb your brand messaging. So that when they are thinking about doing that thing or they are thinking about something that they need, they think about your brand first. Again, we always think about the 6 different customer touch points in order to get someone to be loyal and to convert. So if text messaging is one and email is another, and then you have your in-store events, right? Start to think about what the other 3 are that you could have. So guys, it's now game time, right? We've talked about a lot of different strategies and platforms to manufacture community. A lot of these things are designed to really help create a sense of belonging, to help people do repeat purchasing. And it doesn't always have to be things that you give away for free. In fact, we're seeing, again, a big trend towards paying for memberships, being able to give back to those customers who are giving to you, who are saying, yes, I want to buy in to brand you. And those are things like your physical storefronts and pop-ups, integrating with your mobile payments. It's super easy. If you have loyalty programs, making sure that those are also very easily accessible through your mobile platform. Even doing simple things, guys, like doing live stream video helps to create community on a much more global scale. Those of you who are wondering, well, does a YouTube channel even matter? Does it really matter if I have such a small following or no one's there, no one's listening? It does matter, right? Because as your brand starts to grow and as you start to implement all those great marketing strategies like SEO and search and starting to do more digital advertising, the sooner you get on platforms in order to create branded connections, right, the sooner you're going to get those customers who are loyal. In fact, most of our clients who end up coming to us have told me on the phone that they've actually sat down and watched about 99% of our YouTube videos, right? That's insane. We've been producing YouTube videos now for 4 years, and I think we have a few hundred videos up. They're all business strategy, they're interviews with brands, it's all about sales and marketing, and it's really exciting and fun to produce that content. But guess what? We're not selling a product, right? We're giving out information. We're getting people into our world, right? They become loyal brand junkies. They want to consume it. So the sooner that you're able to get on video, the sooner that you're able to create those touch points, even if that content builds and evolves and it's not the best out of the gate the first time, trust me, your customers are forgiving. I have one video of me sitting down with a laptop in front of me, hair's all wonky, has the most plays, right? People love that. They're like, oh, I saw that video of you when you were doing this. And I'm like, yeah, right? Everyone has to start from somewhere. So start to think about having easy to understand point reward systems and really supporting user-generated content in a much more aggressive way, whether that is through showing branded examples, hosting a party, or getting people by selectively showing them, reverbing back to them how you want them to engage with your brand. All right, guys, I hope you walked away with a lot of amazing ideas, inspirations for 2019 to 2020. Customer loyalty is something that we're all striving for, and really it's something that without it, we're all gonna be lost. We're always so metrics driven and we're always looking at sales and bottom line, and sometimes our strategies actually fall short because we fail to think of our customers as 360-degree individuals. So you guys can find us at scalingretail.com and on YouTube if you do a search for Scaling Retail. Thank you guys so much for your time tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time at Magic. Thanks.